From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News on this Tuesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. We are taking a look at Montana's job market as pandemic-era benefits do end. That story is ahead, but first. Montana will soon know how the state will split into 2 congressional districts. Here's today's leading look. A 5-member bipartisan commission will meet on October 5th to pick several finalists. Then after a few public hearings, the commission will choose the official redistricting map on October 30th. So while that happens, Montanans do have the chance to weigh in. Starting in 2 weeks, anyone can suggest how they feel the state should be split. Maps can be submitted on mtredistricting.gov. So many are hoping the districts will be politically competitive between Democrats and Republicans, but at least one member of the panel says that should not be the priority.
That is not one of the commission's mandatory criteria, nor is it in our Montana Constitution or state law. And in fact, the concept of competitiveness inherently requires you to look at political data, which, as the public well knows, is what people use to gerrymander districts.
There's not expected to be a consensus on the panel, which has 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Experts say it may come down to a tie-breaking vote by the commission's nonpartisan chairwoman. All right, the wildfires near Wise River and Wisdom continue to burn and are creating plenty of smoke over southwest Montana. Fire officials say the Alder Creek and Christensen fires merged into one, totaling more than 28,000 acres. These fires are burning west of Wise River since July and are 22% contained. At the beginning of the month, a new wildfire popped up called the Sand Lake Fire, 11 miles northeast of Wisdom. It's burning in a remote area of more than 100 acres. The Trail Creek Fire burning west of Wisdom is now more than 42,000 acres and 58% contained. This afternoon, an investigation is underway after an early morning fire at the Tower Hill Apartments in Helena. Multiple agencies were called in to fight that fire, and now some 40 residents are left without a home, in part to the electricity needing to be shut off. The Helena fire chief says when crews arrived, they found heavy fire conditions on the east side of the building. The Red Cross is helping to assist those impacted by the fire, and it appears that the fire may have started on one of the building's porches. Well, Nebraska is the only state without a reported new case of that discovered strain of COVID-19. An article by Newsweek reports there are 10 or fewer people infected with the Mu variant in Montana. Those with the World Health Organization now say the variant may have the potential to resist vaccines, and they also say it has the ability to spread pretty quickly. Despite its presence in most states, the new variant is not even close to becoming the dominant strain in the U.S. That's today's leading look.
Well, yesterday it was a good bit of smoke going across the region, mainly to the western side of the state right now. As you can see, if we just kind of draw an imaginary line from Kalispell down to Bozeman, anything really west of that line today, we're still seeing the air quality pretty poor. Central parts of Montana over to the east, we're looking okay, but we're going to start to see those winds shift in as we get into tomorrow and Thursday, and so that smoke will make its way further in to the region. But as of right now, air quality warnings in effect for down there in northern parts of Wyoming until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and all the way through tomorrow morning for parts tonight, Bozeman, Gallatin County, and areas west. So we'll keep an eye on that. What about our temperatures? Up and down, up and down. We'll take a look at that with the main forecast coming up.
From the early days of underground mining to the haul trucks of open pit mining today, Butte continues to have a strong connection with labor.
One thing about mining, it's like a military operation, John. It takes all kinds of different facets it took logging, it took timber, it took electricians, it took carpenters. It just took a variety of workers, and they all recognized that they needed to stick together for their benefit.
In the early part of the 20th century, Butte miners became some of the first workers to unionize, demanding better wages and safer working conditions.
When we said we're all sticking together and we're all in this together, that made a big difference. And you know, it benefited the country, John, because you had the rise of the middle class that came because of labor.
While underground mining stopped in Butte by the 80s, Montana Resources continues open pit mining today and has been seeing high copper prices since the beginning of the year.
It's the demand for copper, it's demand for green energy, it's the demand for electric cars. All of those things will drive the price of copper, which, being a copper miner, we're happy about.
The company expects a mine life of more than 30 years and currently has 382 employees.
We are at the highest labor employment at Montana Resources in the history since 1986.
The Granite Mountain Memorial in Butte is a solemn reminder of the cost Butte paid in human life to keep industry going. And Labor Day will hopefully teach us safety standards, and that we'll learn from that history.
You have to give a lot of credit to Montana Resources for is they have one of the best safety programs, I think, in the country. And that saves the company a ton of money, and it's good for the workers because they're working in a lot better, safer conditions.
A strong connection to Labor Day. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.